Hello and welcome to our Causal for Finance series. If you're an early stage startup or small business using QuickBooks or Xero, then this series is for you. We'll be showing you how to set up and automate all of your core financial reporting, planning, and budgeting processes in Causal. By the end of the series, you'll have a full financial model connected to your accounting system for historical reporting, as well as detailed forecasts for your revenue, cash, runway, headcount, and expenses. You'll have also set up a budget for your company, letting you track your actual spending and performance each month as data comes in. In this first video, we'll be creating a custom P&L connected to your QuickBooks or Xero account with basic forecasts for your revenue, cash, and runway. All you need for this video is a Causal account and admin access to your QuickBooks or Xero instance. Let's get started. Alright, so once you've created a Causal account, the first thing you'll be prompted to do is go through our accounting wizard. This wizard connects directly to your Xero or QuickBooks account and uses some AI magic to generate an initial financial model for you, which you can then start to customize. I've already gone through the connection flow here, but depending on which system you use, click on one of these two buttons and make sure that your pop-up blocker is disabled, since this will create a pop-up that redirects to QuickBooks or Xero to let you authenticate. Once you've gone through the wizard, you should end up with something like this. This is the dashboard view in Causal. Whatever charts and tables you create in your models will be shown on this dashboard. And the wizard will show you a summary chart of your money going in and out. It'll show you some KPIs for your runway and cash. And hopefully your numbers look a bit better than our example here. It'll show you a chart for your cash, a high-level P&L with the main categories, and then a more detailed P&L with more in-depth breakdowns. So this is what's produced out of the box. Let's now go behind the scenes and start to customize our model and dashboard for your business. To do that, click on the Edit Model button in the top right of the screen, and that should bring you into this spreadsheet view. Now, what you're looking at here is the core interface that you'll be using to build things in Causal. On the left-hand side, we have a sidebar showing us an overview of the different things going on in our account. You can see that we have a QuickBooks data connection with our balance sheet and profit and loss data sources, and you can see that we have our financial model open. Now, the model itself is broken up into a few different sections. We have the input section for all of our hard-coded assumptions. We have an income section for our income, and the same for cost of goods and expenses. And then we have an output section where we're calculating some different metrics and KPIs. Now you'll notice that there's a few different columns. There's the name column, which has the name of our variables, we call them. There's the trend column that shows us a kind of a high-level overview of how this variable is changing over time. We then have the data column, which shows us what data items are connected to a particular variable. And then we have a formula, which is used to do the forecast for our model. It's worth spending a few seconds just poking around, making sure you understand what's going on in terms of the structure of the model. And once you've done that, come back to this video and we're going to start customizing this structure to whatever suits you. Great, so you should have had a chance to poke around a little bit and just sort of get your head around how the model is structured right now. And the first thing you probably want to do now is customize some of the different items that are broken out in this model. The AI will generate a bunch of groups of accounts for you automatically, but there's probably going to be certain things that you want to see broken out in more detail, and there might be certain things that you want actually less detail about. For example, the AI has put 23 different GL accounts into this other expenses bucket. If we click here, we can take a look at what those are. And there might be expenses in here that we want to break out as their own separate lines. In this case, suppose that we want to see the employer NI contributions as their own line in Causal. What we can do here is uncheck the employer's NI contributions here for the other expenses. This will now reduce the number of accounts connected here to 22. We can now create a new variable called employer's NI contributions. We can connect this by clicking into the data column. We can search for employer's NI, and we can check that box. So now we've created a new line for employer's NI contributions. We've connected it to the correct account from QuickBooks, and we can now enter a formula that we want to use to do the forecast. In this case, each month we want to just apply the growth rate assumption that we have in our input section, just like we're doing with all the rest of the expenses in our model. And so if we type in previous to get the previous month's value for the same item, and then we can multiply this by the expense growth, and Causal will use that to do the forecast. In this case, the numbers are all 0, but you should now go through and make sure that anything you want to individually pull out or report on is in its own variable in the model here, and anything you're less interested in can be grouped into this other group or grouped together with similar items, for example, payroll. If you want to add even more structure to your model, you can create extra groups within these sections. Suppose we wanted to group our office, travel, and professional fees together. We could select these 3 together using command click on Mac or control click on Windows, and we can right click and click on this group button. This will create a group of these variables. We can give this a name. Maybe we'll call this overheads. And now we can expand or collapse this group. We can also create our own sections. If we wanted to create a new section for different types of expenses, we could hover over an existing section and click on this button, and this will create a new section below that we can move things into. For now, we're not going to use that. So what we've gone through so far is arriving at an initial P&L in Causal with some basic forecasts, customizing and regrouping some of those items in different ways, and we can now customize what is shown on our dashboard. So if you click on the dashboard button at the top of the screen and scroll down to the detailed P&L table and just click on this edit icon in the top right, this lets you edit this table directly. You'll see that the overheads group is automatically part of this table, but what this table is missing right now is our NI employers expenses. And so we can search for employers NI contributions down here. We can click on it to add it to the table, and then we can drag this into the correct place so that it is added in the correct position. And so you'll see that now that is coming through. I'd recommend going through this process and making sure you have all of the different lines that you care about that is relevant for your business. So where we've gotten to in this video is that we've got a custom P&L connected to our accounting system with each line being categorized and organized in a way that's relevant for our business. What we're going to be doing in the next few videos is building out more detailed models for the most important parts of this P&L. Those will be the payroll costs, for which we'll be building out a separate headcount model that'll feed through. We'll also be setting up an individual revenue model to model our revenue in more detail, which will flow through into here. And finally, we'll set up a budget that we can track our expenses and our performance against on a monthly basis. Head on over to video 2 to get started.